Oh, good morning. You know, it dawned on me recently that over the last few years, I've really neglected my physical well-being. Sitting around my house all day just isn't good enough, so I decided to get up early this morning and go for a run. Let's go. Oh, fuck this shit, man. It's too hard. I've got a much better scheme to get in shape. When I was 10 years old, I signed up for an extracurricular activity at my school. The brief was to create either an interview or short film about improvement, which served as my introduction to making videos. Playing the role of Fat Tom, we told the story of a young boy who had weight issues that, thanks to the help of his friends, learned to eat healthy and lose weight. Through its simplicity, I must say that 11 years later, I'm humbled by the irony, because not 2 years after this was made, life imitated art, and I transformed into Fat Jak. So, as we earn experience with age, I think it's finally time that I try to reverse that. All throughout my high school years, I become lazier and lazier. I stopped getting exercise in my free time and was never much of a sport kid at school to begin with. I was too uncoordinated. Well, that explains the lack of physical activity, but how I'm going to explain eating 2 of these chocolate muffins each day, I have no idea. I was never fussed about being in shape and my body image. I was always told growing up that it doesn't matter what other people think, just do you. Well, I did that and now they're telling me I'm the equivalent of jelly. Fucking assholes. I am just kidding. I do totally agree with not giving 2 shits what other people think of you, but the body image thing really is more about what you think of yourself. As I'm sure many people can relate to, going through high school can really mess with your psyche, and I think it was partly because of this that I developed my bad eating habits. Home from school at 3 PM and right into the pantry to eat chips and chocolates, and of course a chocolate muffin, through until dinner time at 6. I'd eat a huge, grotesquely massive meal, and the moment I was done, I was right back into the fridge for chocolate, another muffin for a snack, then a big bowl of ice cream for dessert. Every single day. Now I'm a short guy, so that weight had nowhere to hide. Look at the gut, the arms, the tits. Jesus, Jack, how many chins do you need? I was 15 years old during my heaviest of roughly 94 kilograms or 207 pounds, and looking back on some of these old photos from that time, it doesn't even look like me. Where is the kid so overly excited and charismatic to be on camera? My face says it all. My spirit died of obesity. There was no chance in hell this guy was going anywhere near a camera or microphone to make YouTube videos. And I didn't. In all of my old videos that you can still find from this time, I was nowhere to be found. Now the problem started to resolve itself before I turned 16. It was my final year of high school and I decided that I was going to run the cross-country event, just to prove to myself that I could do it. I was so proud of myself just for having a go, but the moment that race started, the longest hour of my life begun. immediately at the back of the pack, struggling to breathe before I even got out of the school, let alone the other 2.5 miles left to go. I had no friends that day. The entire world was against me and I came dead last. Last to the boys, last to the girls, who started after us and had a shorter course, by the way. I don't know where that stands on gender equality, but whatever. That day made me realise I needed to get my shit together. So I told my parents, don't buy chips, don't buy lollies, don't buy flavoured drinks, I will survive on water alone, and especially, don't buy any fucking chocolate muffins. I'm fairly proud to say that 6 months later, I'd lost 10 kilograms just in time to fit into a suit for my high school leavers, and even though I still had a few chins, it was the best feeling in the world. It's certainly gratifying, but while I had kicked the poor eating habits, I hadn't kicked being lazy. Moving on to college, phys ed was optional, so of course I didn't do it, and not long after, a lingering injury would bite me right on the ankle. Since I was 13, I've always stood and walked like so. Notice how my feet are not aligned correctly and stick out to the side, like a penguin. Ha ha, certainly heard about that in fucking high school. My left foot is much worse, as I've actually demonstrated previously, but I never thought anything of this because it felt normal. Aligning my feet correctly feels like my knees are bent inwards, and I'd have an easier time trying to walk in high heels. It's such a burden. Do you know how many times I've run over my own feet with a shopping trolley and then fallen over? It was something I just kind of accepted as part of who I was, but once I got to college, it got bad really quick. All of a sudden, I couldn't walk or stand for 5 minutes without experiencing serious pain in my feet and ankles. I was given inserts for my shoes from a doctor to try and reverse the problem, but after a few months, I started getting severe pain in my knees, tailbone and lower back, and I could still barely walk. So, I stopped wearing them. I was warned of the side effects and told to stop wearing them by the doctor, but I never put them back on. I'd rather be on a walking stick by 30 than deal with that, so I quit on it. And because of this, I had an excuse to avoid exercise. When 2015 rolled around, college was over and I was starting YouTube full time on a pure gamble, trying to grow my 148 subscribers at the time into something sustainable. So that meant that I was here at my house every day, sat at the computer. And it's a bad habit that haunts me to this day, almost 3 years later. Now, it was fine at first. My body had naturally built up an immunity to not getting proper physical activity from all the years being forced to do it in school, and even just walking around my college doing 20 flights of stairs per day. But at home, I just sat and became fat. In early 2016, I started having health problems. At first, I thought it was nothing, just something bad I ate and I was up all night puking and trying to cope with the stabbing pain in my abdomen. But it didn't stop with that. It would happen again, very randomly, so again, I didn't think anything of it until October of 2016, when it didn't stop for 3 entire weeks. For 3 weeks, it felt like I had a large knife poking through my stomach, and along with that comes so many digestive problems. My doctor suggested I go and get a scan and truly get an answer, but I couldn't afford it on my YouTube dream, so based on what he told me, I did my research and realised that the most important prevention method listed was regular exercise. Now, from October through until the end of March, I was lucky enough to have a very busy schedule. A lot of stuff happened and the problem naturally went away because I was being so much more active. But that didn't last, and the moment I'd stop, the pain issues would return. So I decided to try walking and running of a morning. Oh wait, that kills my legs to the point where I can't stand to shoot videos. The change in my default setup wasn't just a design decision, it was a health one because I just couldn't stand. And as much as I enjoy walking and running, I find it far too boring because I've got nowhere interesting to go. I can walk for an entire day and not notice the pain at the beach or anywhere interesting, but back home, I just didn't have the staying power to keep it up. And in case you couldn't tell, I'm not a gym guy. The atmosphere and the people there, along with people in general, just don't suit me. So with that, I simply had no motivation to exercise. So why am I telling you all of this? Earlier this year, I realised that no matter how boring, mundane, time-consuming or frustrating something can be, if I'm doing it for a video, then it will get done. I've always been physically lazy, but my work ethic has been unbeatable as long as I've been alive. So, why not use that to my advantage? How about I cover a series for review looking at various fitness-related video games, branded and marketed as legitimate personal trainers for iToy, Wii, and Kinect. That way I'm getting my exercise and working towards something for YouTube at the same time, meaning that it will get done. Now, I'm not talking about playing something for a few hours and see how it goes, because that's not testing anything. I'm talking about spending 3 months with each title, seeing how effective their methods are at home, safe from potential injury to my legs because I have limped home before, to experiment and see if they actually work. If they can hold my attention and make exercising fun for someone who has always hated it, then hopefully I'll be able to get through a year of this and train my schedule to include physical activity. It's a win-win, right? I'm honestly not looking to lose any weight or even get in shape and build stamina or muscle. They're just perks in my mind. The sole reason I want to attempt this is to avoid any more nights of pain and agony. As for my diet, I don't plan on changing anything. I do still enjoy some unhealthy snack foods, but I don't gorge on the stuff all day long like I used to, and everything else I eat is generally good, healthy, balanced meals. My philosophy is that as long as you expend all of the energy you consume through eating, that you've got a balanced diet. My problem always stemmed from inconsistent physical activity, so really, anything there is going to be for the best. Repetition builds habits, and the habit of regular exercise is no bad thing. So in my free time for the next year, I'll be playing these games as much as they want me to, running this experiment to see how much improvement I can do with nothing more than video game workouts. I'm already several months in, so I'll see you next week for the first episode, iToy Kinetic. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share. I'm Fat Jak, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Thanks for watching. We're gonna make Fat Tom proud.